Good morning. Welcome to the Windsor Star News Cafe. I'm Don McArthur here with Dale and Kristy and our special guest, Caroline Postma. She's running in Windsor's Ward 3.
Good morning.
Good morning, and welcome back to politics.
Thank you. You know, it's good to be back. It's amazing. You don't know what you got till it's gone. And I hear so many positive things at the door. Caroline, how are you? Where you been? Have a seat. Do you want a coffee? If I'm campaigning in the evening, you want a glass of wine with us? I mean, it's been amazing.
So you were a two-term councillor in the old Ward 2.
Yes.
Can you just kind of talk about why you think you're the best person for the job? You obviously have the experience. Have things kind of changed in the world of Windsor politics since you've been away? Or is it pretty much just sitting back in an old seat?
The only thing that's changed are the ward boundaries. You know, a lot of the issues are the same. So for me, it's just getting back into that saddle again. Pardon the puns. I figured I'm with you guys. I could use them, right? And I think that's exactly what it is in Ward 3. It's going to boil down to, do the voters in Ward 3 want someone with the experience that can get right back into the swing of things right away? Or do they want someone new? And I think that's the real question for them, because some of us are a lot alike. So that's going to be the hard decision for them. But really, not much has changed in 4 years. And I've been working for a business improvement association, and right in there with the planning department, you know, traffic and engineering, and, you know, the public works department and parks department. So that really made me miss the job even more, if that makes any sense.
Sure. We had Eddie Francis on here last week, and he offered up a few endorsements, including one in Ward 3, and he went with Reno. He didn't go with you, and you sort of always stood by him, you know, in the CUPE strike days and this and that. You certainly weren't bad-mouthing him, so what do you think about that he's picking Reno instead of a known commodity like yourself? Well,
you know, I have a lot of respect for Eddie. You can't live in the city of Windsor and enjoy, quite frankly, the amenities we have with the taxes we have. And I did post my taxes on Facebook. I own 3 houses, and I own them for...
Did they go up or down?
You know, some of them went up slightly. For the most part, they stayed the same. You're talking about, in the 4 years I posted, you're looking at the most, a $75 difference, which I'm quite happy with.
Sure.
You can't work with someone with Eddie's energy, Eddie's enthusiasm, and his knowledge, and not have respect for him. I have a lot of respect for Eddie, so I'm sure Eddie's endorsement, it is what it is. You know, I'll still shake his hand at the end of the day and admire his work. But you know what? In the end, I'm not an advocate for any mayor, for any political party. I've never belonged to a political party, and I think that's very important. I'm truly independent, always have been. But I'm also someone who can respect other people's opinions and respect everything going on around a table. So, hey, the endorsement is what it is. You know, I just forge ahead with my plan.
Sure. Excellent. All right, so forging ahead, what are some of the issues that you're hearing at the doors, and what do you think are the most important for Ward 3?
You know, there's not any 1 or 2 issues that are for the whole ward, and really the issues depend on what neighborhood you're in. You know, and you even have to go further than that. I can tell you in my section of the downtown, you know, I would say from Karen to Dougal, north of Wyandotte, has their own issues versus my own neighborhood, which is south of Wyandotte, you know, between the Karen and the Victoria area. They're different. What we hear a lot of in that area, and by we I mean my husband, my kids, and myself, because we're the team. We hear a lot about bylaw issues. You know, if you're in this core area and you're spending time with the condo owners and the apartment residents, it's different issues. So those issues here are mostly related to cleanliness downtown, having amenities downtown, which is very, very important. And then, of course, noise, you know. Whereas if you're in Glengarry Marintet, it's an entirely different set of issues. Yeah. You know, so you really, you have to break down the ward into neighborhoods and what those issues are. And I'm really good at that and really good at problem solving with that. So depending on where you're at, the issues are different, gentlemen.
Okay. Just downtown is, you know, one of the is really the heart of Ward 3. Is
absolutely.
A lot of trees have been planted, but they're still shrubs, in terms of the University of Windsor coming here and this and that. But one day they're going to be trees. But in the interim,
that's a great analogy.
In the interim, what can we do to sort of spruce up downtown? Specifically,
I think what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to really work with your business partners around the table and your resident association and find out, number one, what are those amenities that they feel we're missing? Number two, how do we keep the area neat and tidy and clean? And how do we grow on our successes? There are some successes downtown,
sure,
and we have to admit that. And we have to embrace who we are. And I've always found that to be somewhat of an issue downtown, is some of the businesses and at times the DWBIA, dare I say that, don't want to embrace who they are. And we are downtown the only entertainment lounge district in the entire city. And I think that's important to acknowledge, because if you don't acknowledge that, then your growth for downtown and recognizing your other assets is a little more difficult. So I think first of all, we have to recognize who we are, recognize what's coming, what amenities do you feel you're missing, and then we're gonna have to get everyone on the same page and look at how do we grow. Trees are great. Love the analogy, by the way. But it's so much more. We have to prove to investors that there are 5,000 people in apartments here. That's a lot of people. And believe me, I've been in the apartments for the last 2 weeks. There's 5,000 people. So for any corporation, to come down here, we have to make sure we tell them that. Look at all these people here. And I think that's really important. Embrace who you are. Let everybody know how many people there actually are here and that we shop here. If I could leave my car in the garage, Dawn and Dylan, and walk downtown to buy fresh meat and produce,
sure,
you're darn right I would.
Well, you talk about embracing who you are.
Yeah.
And the ward, it's a diverse ward, diverse demographic too. Your platform on your website is in 5 different languages?
Yes.
At least,
Windsor's,
yeah.
one of
Yes.
the most diverse cities in the country.
Absolutely.
So is that why you chose to do that?
I've always embraced Windsor's multiculturalism because in the old Ward 2, we were the same. I come from representing the old Ward 2, which, by the way, encompassed a huge chunk of the new Ward 3. And it was one of the most socially, economically, and culturally diverse areas. And that hasn't changed. I like to embrace other cultures. I like to try their food. I like to hear their language and learn. And for me, it's important that everybody understands my message. And that's why it was translated. That's important. I want everyone to know that I care.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Okay, just remove ourselves from Ward 3 and
Sure.
a whole city issue for a second. The big one on the campaign trail is the Auditor General. Should Windsor have an Auditor General?
I think so. I think just having that Auditor General gives people a sense of comfort, But this is what I tell people. Having been in that seat for 7 years, I know that there's an audit function at the city, and I don't want anyone to ever feel that the city's books are never audited. So yes, Auditor General, but I always leave people with, you do know the city is audited, right? There is that function. But yeah, sure, bring back the Auditor General.
Okay.
Why not?
All right, well, final words to the voters of Ward 3.
Ward 3, I'm someone who has no learning curve here. I basically hit the ground running. Yes, it's been 4 years, but the one thing that you should know is in that 4 years, I've maintained the relationships at City Hall, and I do the work for small businesses on Wyandotte Street that I would do as your counselor. Bylaw complaints, parking issues, garbage, planters, parks, all that stuff I currently do. And coming back for me would be the greatest honor that I can ever have bestowed upon me, quite frankly. I've missed the job. I've missed you. I've missed working with you. And coming back for me would just be an incredible opportunity. And you learn a lot. I learned a lot in 7 years. And the one most important thing I've learned is spend more time with you in the ward. It's really easy to get overwhelmed at striking committee and sign yourself up for everything that matters. Oh, police, put me on that. Licensing, put me on that. Arts, put me on that, put me on that, put me on that. Then the next thing you know, you have 18 to 20 committees and you're overwhelmed. So the one thing that I certainly bring to that table as well is the experience to know that I need to spend a lot more time in the ward with residents. And that is a big part of who I am, and that's a big part of me going forward. So on October 27th, I would hope you vote for someone with the experience to not only understand the budgets and the work, but actually understand what the job fully entails. So hopefully they choose me.
Okay, boom, there it is. Caroline Postma, she's running in Windsor's Ward 3. We're at the Windsor Star News Cafe.